Here we go.
Good morning, YouTube's man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we got some shows coming up this weekend, and we have a few more coming up this month. I mean, it's not over yet. We have at least 3 more Olympic qualifications. Two of them are for Masters Olympia, and 3 are also for the next year's Olympia, 2026. And this show is probably one of the biggest shows. It's both a Masters and Open show. And right now, what I'm going to do is, because there's so many competitors competing in this show, I have to cut it down. So I'm going to cut it down to the competitors I recognize as doing the Open, which is, that's Olympic qualification, and Masters qualification, which is 40 plus. All the divisions, I know I don't want to leave them out, but if I did this whole thing, with these divisions, and some of these ladies are doing also, the multiple classes at the show for women's physique. As you know, I'm just going to focus on that. And also, there's some ladies I've interviewed who's doing the show. So we have here the list for women's physique. It came out Monday. And, I know it takes my time because I never know when somebody drops out or something like that. So I want to make sure. And then also I'm posting. But, I want just to let y'all know it's up there. I'm not watching the show because, my rule. I don't watch shows that don't, have women's bodybuilding to it. It's no offense to them. It's just also saves me money because I'm planning on a trip for next year. And like I said, you don't support women's bodybuilding, I can't support your show. But I do support this gentleman. I met him when I was in Tampa. And this is the Atlantic Coast Pro, which is being promoted by Tim Gardner. Shout out to Tim Gardner. He still shows like the Tampa Pro and Chicago Pro, still one of the few promoters that still have women's bodybuilding. You just heard recently another promoter drop women's bodybuilding for the show. So I go in detail on another day. So the list came out on Monday, and we have quite a few ladies. Some Olympic level competitors, some are Master Olympic level competitors, and some are making their pro debut at this show. First up, there's the Masters list, and I said again, some ladies are doing both Open and Masters. And like I said again, I didn't want to get everybody because there's so many ladies at this show, I just couldn't get details on. First off, we have here is Rachel Arson. Arson. I think she's been competing before. She did a show back, I believe, in 2023. So it's been a while. And we have us here, Serena Birch. She's from next door neighbor. I believe she lives in South Carolina because I'm Man Glenn interviewed. Actually, I think she's North Carolina. But I'm trying to remember. I know she's from Man Glenn. Next thing we have one Miss Nancy Brigham. And I got the opportunity to start following me on YouTube because he was hanging with my friend Eunice at the Steve Carr show. She announced that she was going to do this show. So shout out to the lovely Mrs. Brigham. Next up we have is Natalia Bastrova. As you know, Natalia last competed at both the Masters O and also at the Rising Phoenix. As you know, it's not the Rising Phoenix, not the Arizona Pros. It is doing Masters, and she's doing Masters also. Impressive lady. I mean, I think she possibly can win this show. I mean, her physique is killer. Can you believe this woman is almost in her 60s? Wow. Next up, we have the lady that had a pleasure to interview, the lovely Mrs. Jessica Coleman. Miss Coleman, she competed, I think she did a show this year, and she competed last year. And last year was she made her pro debut. Next up, we have one Miss Erin Cooper. Miss Cooper has done a few other shows here and there, and this is going to be, I think, her second show this year. I know I've seen her on some other shows, but yeah, she's been, this is her pro debut for this year. Next up, we have a lady who also I got a pleasure of meeting when I was in Tampa, the lovely Miss April Cosmono. And, she won in Women's Masters 40 at the show, which qualified her for this year's Master Olympia, but she didn't go. I hope she might try to shoot for another shot for the Master Olympia. Very impressive lady, great personality. She hadn't competed in nearly 11 years since she turned pro. So, and I mean, she was top 10 at the Tampa. I say she was top 10 in 10 years. We were talking about that. She put it on a shirt. Next up, we have a lady I have a pleasure of interviewing, Dr. Renee Colvin, and she's, been double dipping. She's been doing physique and been doing women's bodybuilding. Even did a stint in figure for a bit. She's actually doing women's over 50. She's not doing any open. She should do open, but I know some of these ladies don't feel like they want to compete with the girls who are more, more size. So next up is also another lady who's from around my way. She's right there in South Carolina, the lovely Mrs. Lynn Elm. Now, we've seen her last year. She competed at the Clash show. That was the first time and the last time the Clash show. That was, I think it was being promoted partially by Natalia Coelho. She won that show. Shout outs to Lynn. Next up we have is Jennifer Earnhardt, and this is going to be her second show. She made a debut just about a month ago at the the Mexico Pro. So congratulations to her. Next up we have is Jenny Feldman, and this lady has been in the game for quite some time. She has been a multi-time Olympian, and she last competed at the Rising Phoenix. I'm surprised she didn't do the Tampa show. She usually does that show because that's a show we got a qualification before. But this is the opportunity for her to get a qualification. She's also doing Masters too. No, I'm wrong. She's not doing Masters. She's just doing the open part, but she should consider doing Masters because she's up there now. No offense to her, but I think she would do well in Masters. And you probably could win this show, depending. But shout out to Jenny Feldman. Next up, we have here one Miss, I think her name is Zavera Lindsay, and this will be her pro debut. So she turned pro some time ago at the Masters USA, so this is going to be her first show for the year. Next up is a lady who's been in a multiple time Rising Phoenix competitor, Women's World Bodybuilding Champion, Rising Phoenix. Also, she's been an Olympian, and that is LaDonna Day. For the last couple of years, she's been competing in physique. She went back down. This is going to be the first show for her this year. She hadn't seen too much activity. I think she did another show. I'm trying to think of. But no, I think this is the first show for her. She done a show last year. Next up, we have is Shea Queen. And this is her second show. Amazing lady. She's also good friends with Michaela Aycock. Great physique. She looked pretty good at the Rising Phoenix just past couple of months ago. Next up, we have one Miss Laura Richards. And Miss Richards, as you know, she is also a suit designer. It's been a while since she competed. I think it's been about a couple of years. And she competed, I think, last at the Legion Sports Festival. Now, the Legion does not carry women's physique or figure anymore. Next up is Diane Schneid. Originally from Germany, but she's in the U.S. for a long time. She competed, I believe, recently at the Masters World Championship. Amazing physique, great detail. I hope she does well this show. Next up is one Miss Christine Spexkos. She's just competed at the Mexico Pro also herself. We have here also Dr. Autumn Swanson. As you know, Autumn was top 3. She was actually behind number 2 to Natalia Coelho at the Mexican Pro. And amazing physique. I honestly think she fits the criteria of women's physique. As you know, she was one of the early competitors when the divisions first started. She took a step in figure for a good while, and now she came back the last couple of years competing in women's physique. Amazing physique, and I think she really fits the criteria. If you look at her, her build, her development, I think she is what the standard of physique should be, not what we're seeing now. Next up is a young lady who I had the pleasure of meeting while I was also at Tampa this summer, and that is Brianna Terry. Now, she just made her pro debut at the Mexico Pro also. Pretty amazing young lady, multiple time powerlifting champion. She's been a pro for a good bit, but she just made a pro debut this year, so it's going to be her second show. So wish her all the best of luck. I think she can probably, just like the Mexico Pro, she might even crack the top 5. And we have here one Miss Sherry Valdez, and I believe this is going to be her pro debut. Next up is a young lady who I had a pleasure of interviewing a while back. That is Stephanie Watts. Now, young Miss Watts, she's been, she earned her pro card just a year ago at the USA Championships. She's friends and buddies with Hannah Hussein. So this is going to be her pro debut. And last we have here is one Miss Joanne Ricip. And I believe she's been, this is going to be her pro debut, I believe. I mean, not much I know, but I know she's friends with, Maria Lieberman. I mentioned her on I think I was talking back and forth to Maria about her, and she said, yeah, go check out my friend, maybe do an interview. I think I've got something set up. We just got to wait to after she's done her show. We might, get an interview sometime soon. Now, here's a list for figure. This is a deep list. Folks, I'm telling you, it is a deep list. I am not going to do all the women in the figure division. It's too much. I'm going to focus on a few. Some ladies I've done interviews with, and one particular lady who is also doing masters of this show. And she just did a show a week ago and did a show just a little bit ago, and that is 2 shows post after Olympia. That is Jessica Reyes-Padilla. Now, she just won the Texas State Pro, which means, and she's already qualified. Again, she's number 3 in the world in the figure division. She took second at the Mexico Pro, which she should have said, you know what, let me stop and relax and quit. But she lives in Texas, so she wanted to do this shows, the Texas State Pro, because she won it before. She's cutting the numbers again. So a 3rd show, and I'm hoping maybe somebody bring a better presentable physique. Like I said, I'm not going to go to all the details of the ladies who are competing in the show because there's so many of them. But like I said, I was going to focus on the ladies that I had the pleasure of being a guest on my channel. And first off, we have one Miss Florencia Hunt. Miss Hunt, as you know, I interviewed her just about a couple of weeks ago. She is a former Olympian competitor. Amazing lady, cancer survivor. She's still going to the chemo because she doesn't want to lose a leg. Shout out to her, respect to her. She's originally from the islands. Amazing woman. Dedicated to the sport. Just a lot of mad respect for her. Next up, we have Stephanie Herrera. I interviewed Stephanie last year after she got a pro card in North America. She got 3 pro cards, 2 in figure and 1 in physique. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Double dipping. And shout out to her. Next up, we have is Dr. Adrienne Matthews. I interviewed Dr. Matthews just about a year or so ago. Amazing lady. She's a pharmacist. That's a doctor in pharmacy. She's done a couple of shows this year. I keep up in contact with her as much as I can. And next up we have is Alina Politis. I interviewed her just a while back. This is going to be her debut year. She did a show this year, and this is going to be her 2nd show. Precious young lady. I think she has good aesthetics. I think she does well. There's quite a few more ladies she put on the list, but I didn't want this list to be too long, especially, some ladies I recognize, some ladies I've been in contact with, some ladies who started following me on my social media. But I said, let me focus on ladies that I have done interviews with, and the one that shouldn't, But the good thing is I did not see Natalia Cuello doing this show. Thank God. That means it's an opportunity for somebody to get qualification to the show for the first time in maybe in over 3 years. But here's the list of bikini. And, I don't do much about bikini, but I will do because of somebody I had a pleasure to interview. Right here, my fellow North Carolinian, the lovely Miss China Melton. And China, amazing young lady. I want to give a shout out to her. I know anytime if I interview a bikini pro and they're competing in the show, I will shout them out. Because, I don't do a lot of, I've a handful of bikini competitors, I just think she's an amazing young lady, especially her past and what she did. She was in politics, and she worked with some of the top ladies and men and women in Washington D.C. I just think she's an amazing lady. So I hope she does well. Place maybe the top 10 because top 5 is tough. Now they're gonna do the Masters shows tomorrow, the 15th. Where I should have did just did a video, just did the Masters, and then just did a video for the Open. But I didn't want to do 2 videos, so I decided to do 1. But this is, like I said again, this is a pretty good show. My man David, he's gonna be there. Will I go there? Like I said again, I'm sticking to my rule where if you are a show to have women's bodybuilding, I will attend. If it's just you don't have women's bodybuilding, no, I'm not gonna support it. Like I said again, women's bodybuilding is the architect division. If it wasn't for that division, there wouldn't be the other women divisions. They owed a lot to it. The men started all, but the women, they are the majority of competitors in the IFBB, you might as well say, compared to the men. But anyway, the show's going to be, the Masters going to be tomorrow, and Sunday's going to be the Open divisions, where you qualify for next year's Olympia, Masters for next year's Masters, for 2027 Masters Olympia, 2027, I want to get that right. And I want to give shout out to you ladies and gentlemen who are competing in this show. Shout out to most of you ladies who I've done interviews with. I want to give a special shout out. I'm going to post it onto my social media platforms later today. But anyway, shout out to the competitors. Best of all luck to you. And I hope you have a great show. And reach me on our Joe's page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Fear and Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.